Your living room looks fine, but its Feng Shui is draining your wealth. That mirror, reflecting chaos. That sofa, blocking qi. Even your plant might be killing money energy. You won't feel it until your finances start fading quietly. There's a quiet current running through your home, an invisible stream of qi carrying either wealth or worry. And in the heart of it all is your living room. It's where you gather, where your energy settles, and where without even knowing you might be blocking the exact flow you're trying to attract. In Feng Shui, the living room is more than comfort. It's a command center for your life's energy. A single misstep here, and your money flow could start to slip away little by little. Before we begin, if you care about Feng Shui and wealth flow, stay with me until the very end, because we'll walk through 5 powerful shifts that can unlock qi in your living room today. And if you haven't seen the first video in this Feng Shui Home Tips playlist, you can check it out right after this one. Every step builds on the last, so your whole home can flow like money's meant to. You probably never questioned it. It's just the sofa, but the way it sits is the way your wealth settles. Or doesn't. In most homes, the sofa is placed for television viewing, not for energy flow. And that's where the problem begins. A sofa without a back wall is like a life without foundation. When your main sitting spot floats in the middle of the room, or worse, has its back to an entryway, it creates what Feng Shui calls a vulnerability line. There's no mountain support behind you. And in Feng Shui, this means no energetic backing for your decisions, your conversations, or even your finances. You sit, but you can't settle. You're always slightly alert. It's the same feeling as sitting in a cafe with your back to the door. Your body tenses without knowing why. Over time, this subtle tension becomes chronic. You hesitate more. You overthink money moves. You second-guess your own worth. And this isn't just energy talk, it's nervous system response. When you don't feel supported physically, your subconscious stays in low-level defense. And wealth doesn't flow to a system stuck in defense mode. When the sofa isn't anchored, your energy doesn't settle. You feel unsettled. You hesitate more. You make half decisions, the kind that cost money over time. It's not just discomfort. It's a subtle fragmentation of power. The solution isn't just about moving furniture. It's about creating energetic stability, the kind that invites wealth to stay. First, find a solid wall behind your sofa. This becomes your black tortoise in Feng Shui, the mountain that supports your back. This wall shouldn't have a window or mirror, just plain grounded presence. When your sofa rests against this wall, your body registers safety. And safety is what allows your nervous system to shift from survival to receiving. Next, balance both sides of the sofa. Use 2 matching lamps, plants, or side tables to anchor the energy. This symmetry activates harmony between the left and right side of your life. Action and reflection. Giving and receiving. Most importantly, leave space in front. Don't clutter the pathway with bulky tables or obstacles. Qi needs a runway to approach. When the space in front of you is open and flowing, so are your ideas and your income. And if you want to go deeper, place a small, wealth-attracting object behind or beneath the sofa. A red string, a coin jar, or a black tourmaline stone to ground financial intentions. It's not superstition, it's symbolic, anchoring a language your energy field understands. I once visited a client, a designer, in her mid-30s. Her living room was stunning. Curated shelves, earthy tones, velvet throws. but her sofa floated awkwardly in the center, its back facing the front door. She told me she'd been feeling off lately, not sleeping well, struggling to say yes to new clients. And money, it came in, but never stayed. We moved the sofa, pushed it gently against the far wall, grounded it with 2 matching lamps, and added a soft rug to invite the chi forward. 2 weeks later, she emailed me. "I feel held. It's strange, but I finally signed the contract I kept avoiding, and I stopped panicking about money. It wasn't the sofa. It was the energy finally knowing where to rest. The moment your sofa rests against the wall, your body feels it too. More stable, more clear. Decisions come easier, and opportunities feel like they finally have somewhere to land. A supported seat creates a supported soul. But what if the problem isn't where you sit, but what you see? Let's talk about the mirror next. You placed it there to make the room feel bigger, but what if that mirror isn't expanding energy? It's splitting it? In most modern homes, mirrors are placed for looks, not for energy. People hang them across from the front door to make the space feel open. But in Feng Shui, this creates a direct energy rejection. When Qi, the life force, enters your home through the main door and meets a mirror facing it, it bounces right back out. It's like inviting someone in, only to slam a reflective wall in their face. Another common mistake? Mirrors reflecting screens, especially TVs. This doesn't just double the light and sound, it doubles stimulation. Instead of one focal point, your energy is now pulled into 2 competing sources. Your nervous system can't rest. Your focus gets diluted. Your attention, which is your money-making power, gets fragmented. And then, there are the mirrors that reflect cluttered shelves, busy desks, or chaotic corners. In Feng Shui, what's reflected is what's repeated. So a pile of unopened bills, a mess of half-finished projects, all that gets mirrored back into your subconscious every time you walk by. It feels like you're doing twice as much, but going nowhere. When chaotic qi is doubled, your nervous system gets overstimulated. You find it hard to focus, hard to make decisions. You might notice money plans getting delayed, or a strange sense of energetic buzz at home, like you can't settle down. In a space like that, wealth doesn't flow. It ricochets. The fix isn't about removing the mirror. It's about realigning what it reflects. First, stand in front of it and ask, what energy is this bouncing back into my home? If it reflects your front door, that's the first change to make. In Feng Shui, this setup creates a reverse energy loop. Qi enters, hits the mirror, and exits immediately. Move the mirror so it rests on a side wall instead. Somewhere it can gently hold the energy, not push it away. Second, check what's inside the frame. If it's chaos, clean it. If it's noise, calm it. Your mirror should reflect what you want more of. Place it so it catches a peaceful corner, a healthy plant, a bowl of fruit, a symbol of growth. And if you use mirrors for style, that's okay. Just don't face them toward TVs, beds, desks, entryways. These are high energy or vulnerable zones. Let them rest, not repeat. And if you feel the mirror is too loud, drape a soft cloth over it in the evenings. This signals your nervous system. We're closing the energetic gates for the night. Your home will thank you in clarity, calm, and maybe even a little cash flow. I remember working with a woman in her early 40s, a yoga teacher with the most peaceful voice. But her living room buzzed. She had placed a tall, decorative mirror right across from her front door because it made the space feel grand. The mirror reflected the television, and the television was always on news, headlines, flashes of crisis. She told me she felt tired all the time. Not physically, but mentally. Like she was holding too much without knowing what or why. We moved the mirror to the sidewall, next to a tall bamboo plant. Now, it reflected stillness. A few weeks later, she said this: "I didn't realize how many times a day I was absorbing energy I never asked for. Now, the room breathes differently, and so do I. That's the quiet power of a mirror when it stops echoing the chaos and starts holding the calm. When you shift the mirror, you shift your relationship with space. The tension eases. Your thoughts become quieter. You start noticing synchronicities, invitations, small moments of flow that weren't arriving before. That's chi coming back and staying. Reflect stillness, and stillness will reflect wealth. But what if the real noise isn't visual at all? Let's talk about the television next. It fills the silence, keeps you company. But have you ever wondered, what else is the television talking over? In most households, the television is always on, not because someone's watching, but because silence feels uncomfortable. This habit, though common, creates a constant chi disruption. The flicker of changing images, the mixed messages, drama, news, reality, shows. All these waves clash and swirl into your living space. Feng Shui sees this as unstable chi injection. It's like pouring soda into still water. The natural calm of the space is lost in a flood of bubbles and noise. And when the television dominates the central wall of your living room, it becomes a false mountain, something that looks grounding, but offers no energetic support. Worse yet, when the television is left on passively during meals, chores, or even money tasks, your brain forms what scientists call attention residue, a lingering cognitive split between what you're doing and what you're hearing. So you try to budget, but get distracted. You sit down to rest, but feel restless. You plan your finances, but the noise in the background says, there's always something else. Over time, this creates energetic scattering. You become great at reacting and terrible at focusing. And wealth, it never thrives in a room full of echoes. Over time, this noise doesn't just distract, it drains. Your nervous system stays in low-grade alert. You check your phone more. You finish fewer tasks. You avoid looking at your budget not because you're lazy, but because your brain is too overstimulated to prioritize clarity. It's not laziness. It's ambient burnout. And that energetic fog? It clogs the path between intention and manifestation. The television itself isn't the enemy. It's how we let it dominate without boundaries. The first shift isn't technical, it's energetic. Choose a television boundary ritual. Turn it on when you need to receive something, and turn it off when you're ready to return to yourself. Feng Shui teaches that every object holds its own chi pattern. A constantly running television pumps unstable kai, fragmented images, unpredictable sounds, clashing stories. That's not entertainment, that's energetic overload. So when it's not in use, cover it. Use a soft cloth, ideally beige, off-white, or earth tone. These colors anchor earth chi, which helps settle the fire element emitted by electronics. This isn't just symbolic. In neuroscience, visual interruption of a screen reduces background mental echoes by up to 40%. Next, balance the energy around the television. Add a healthy plant on either side, wood to balance fire. Place a grounding item underneath, a stone, salt bowl, or black tourmaline. Light a small lamp nearby, not overhead, to soften and humanize the zone. And if your space allows, move the television slightly off-center. A subtle tilt or shift keeps it from becoming the alpha object in the room. It tells your subconscious, this is not the center of my life. Once you do this, the room starts feeling different, quieter, slower, more present. And when presence returns, so does awareness. And where there's awareness, money starts moving again. I once worked with a financial coach, someone you'd expect to be on top of her wealth game. Her apartment was stylish, minimal, chic. But the television? It was always on. CNBC during the day, Netflix at night. Even when she was journaling or cooking, the screen stayed lit. She told me her brain felt loud. Her ideas were scattered. She couldn't focus long enough to plan the next move for her business. We did one thing. We created a simple closing ritual. Every evening, she'd cover the screen with a soft cream cloth, light a small salt lamp beside it, and take 3 deep breaths. That's it. 2 weeks later, she said this, I didn't realize how much the noise was running my life. Now, I feel like I'm home again. Sometimes, we don't need more clarity. We just need less interference. As the television energy softens, so does your mind. You start noticing the quiet, and in that quiet, you remember things. Bills you were avoiding, calls you need to make, ideas you forgot you had. The room becomes a place where presence returns, and where wealth begins to pay attention. Where there is less noise, money can hear you. But not all blocks are loud. Some sit silently in the corners, waiting to cut through your chi. Let's look at the sharp corners next. Not everything that blocks energy is loud. Some things sit quietly in the corners, cutting your chi without you ever noticing. Most people don't think about corners, but in Feng Shui, every angle carries a vibration, and some vibrations are sharp. Imagine a triangle. Now imagine it pointing straight at where you sit, or sleep, or work. That's what's happening in thousands of homes. Coffee tables with crisp glass edges, bookshelves with sharp vertical corners, cabinet doors left slightly ajar. These objects may look clean, modern, elegant, but energetically, they're chi disruptors. Feng Shui calls this sha qi, a form of cutting energy. It doesn't explode, it slices. Slowly, silently. The most common placement mistake? A sharp corner pointing directly at your main seat, the place where you rest, plan, or try to relax. And your body senses it. You shift in your seat more. You feel exposed without knowing why. You avoid sitting in that exact spot for too long. Then it spreads. More arguments start in that room. You procrastinate on financial tasks. You feel a subtle urgency, but without direction. And here's the kicker. Over time, Sha Qi creates micro-tension in your nervous system. This can trigger decision fatigue, short attention span, and even a subconscious fear of settling down. And if you're afraid to settle, how can wealth ever settle with you? You may notice more tension in your conversations, a shorter fuse, trouble relaxing even in your own space. You feel on edge, quite literally. This kind of environment subtly sabotages financial clarity. You either spend impulsively or hesitate too long. Either way, the money slips through. Corners don't have to disappear, they just need to stop attacking. In Feng Shui, the remedy for Sha Qi is always the same. Transform the sharp into soft. not by force, but by flow. Start by walking through your space slowly. Sit where you normally sit. Look at what's pointing at you. If a corner feels active, don't ignore that signal. Your body's wisdom often sees before your eyes do. Now let's fix it. Furniture corners. Add silicone protectors or soften the edges with a decorative cloth. Place a round bowl, candle, or soft floral arrangement on top to redirect the qi. You're not covering the object, you're diffusing its energy. Vertical edges, like bookshelves or cabinets. Place a leafy plant in front to act as a qi buffer. Or use a flowing curtain if the object is too large to move. Low-level sharpness, for example under tables or bed frames. Place a small rug beneath to ground the energy spike. Add a crystal, salt jar, or black tourmaline at the base to absorb residual sha qi. And here's where it gets powerful. You can even set an intention while adjusting. Whisper something like, "This space no longer cuts, it now calms. Wealth is safe here." Because Feng Shui is never just about furniture. It's about what the energy feels invited to do. And when the space stops pushing, prosperity finally gets a chance to pause and stay. A woman once invited me to her home. She was a school counselor, calm voice, kind eyes, but a nervous energy under the surface. Her living room was beautiful, natural light, soft colors, but I noticed it the moment I sat down. A tall bookshelf in the corner, sharp, dark, and perfectly aligned, pointing straight at her sofa. I asked, "Do you sit here often?" She paused. "I try to, but I never last long. I usually end up pacing around the house." We moved the bookshelf slightly, added a tall plant in front, draped a soft scarf across the top shelf. Nothing dramatic, just softened the edge. A week later, she texted, "I spent an hour on that sofa yesterday reading, sipping tea. I didn't even notice the time go by." Sometimes, your qi just needs a gentler place to land. You'll notice your body feels softer. You breathe deeper in that room. Conversations linger longer. You start feeling like you're not defending your space anymore. And the wealth you invite? It doesn't bounce. It stays. Soften the corners, and you soften your life. But not all blockages are made of wood and glass. Some grow slowly, leaf by leaf, in the plants we place without intention. Let's look at that next. We place them for peace, but not all plants are helping. Some are quietly choking your qi. We bring plants into our homes to invite life, but when placed without awareness, they can quietly do the opposite. The first mistake? Dead or dying plants. A few yellow leaves, dry soil, a pot we forgot to water last week. It might seem harmless, but in Feng Shui, this is what we call yin decay energy. The energy of stagnation, slow breakdown and reverse growth. A dead plant tells the qi, nothing's thriving here, and energy responds by slowing down. The second mistake? Oversized or overgrown plants blocking energy paths. A giant fern next to the doorway. A monstera crowding your wealth corner. Instead of letting qi move freely, these plants act like bouncers, keeping the wealth outside the flow line. And the third mistake? Clustered, neglected plant zones. A shelf full of random pots, leaves covered in dust, soil untouched. These areas create a kind of natural clutter. And clutter, whether it's plastic or plants, sends one message to your nervous system. I'm overwhelmed. Over time, this disconnect shows up in your behavior. You put off action. You forget priorities. You lose touch with your flow. And that's how plants, once symbols of wealth and qi, become quiet blockers of the very abundance you were hoping to grow. A cluttered plant zone slows your space down. You may feel tired more often, procrastinate, forget what you were doing. Your to-do list grows, but nothing moves. Clients disappear. Ideas don't land. Your wealth energy is photosynthesizing in reverse. The fix begins with one simple question. Is this plant still alive or just present? If the answer isn't a clear yes, it's time to release it. Feng Shui teaches that any object in your home is either adding to the qi or draining it. Step 1. Remove what no longer breathes. Thank the plant. Compost it or return it to the earth. You're not throwing it away, you're letting the qi cycle complete. Step 2. Reset the plant zones. Look at where your plants sit. Are they blocking the front door? Are they crowding a walkway? Are they pressed into corners where light and energy can't reach? If yes, reposition. Let them breathe. Let the space between them invite flow. Let sunlight reach both the leaves and the energy around them. Step 3. Assign symbolic roles. In Feng Shui, we don't just decorate, we designate. Let each plant carry an intention. This one protects income. This one invites calm decisions. This one holds my wealth energy. When you assign meaning, the plants become living rituals. They don't just sit in the room, they participate. Step 4. Activate and maintain. Wipe the leaves. Touch the soil. Whisper a sentence of gratitude as you water. Example: thank you for holding steady energy for my wealth. Because when the plants feel loved, the energy starts blooming. And wealth loves to grow where life is cared for. A man once told me he bought a lucky bamboo for his new apartment. He placed it right next to the front door, hoping it would pull in money energy. But weeks passed. The bamboo started yellowing. He watered it more, then less, then moved it to a windowsill. Nothing changed. One day I asked him, "Do you talk to it?" He laughed but then paused. We moved the plant to a quieter corner. He placed a small gold coin at its base. And every morning, he whispered the same line, "You help me grow what's meant for me." A few weeks later, new shoots appeared. He got a new job offer out of nowhere. "I don't know if it was the plant," he said, "but something finally rooted." Sometimes, the qi isn't blocked by the plant itself, but by how forgotten it's become. After you shift the plants, you'll feel it. The room becomes lighter, your thoughts faster. That corner you always ignored suddenly feels magnetic. It's not magic, it's just aligned life force. A living plant is a living prayer for prosperity. So, what do you do now? How do you shift your entire living room qi? In just one day? Let's lock it in. If your living room has felt stuck lately, if the wealth keeps showing up, then slipping away, here's how to shift the qi in just one day. 1. Ground the sofa. Push it against a solid wall. Give it symmetry on both sides. Let your energy sit with confidence. 2. Redirect the mirror. Let it reflect calm, not chaos. Remove it from the door's path. Use it to multiply stillness, not distraction. 3. Tame the television. Turn it off with intention. Cover it when it's not in use. Let silence return and listen for wealth to speak. 4. Soften the corners. Use plants, cloth, or light to blur the sharp. Qi doesn't belong in a space meant for peace. Let your room stop defending itself. 5. Let the plants breathe. Remove what's decaying. Reposition what's thriving. Assign meaning. And water your wealth like it's alive because it is. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. And when your space supports you, your wealth finally knows where to land. Your living room isn't just where you relax. It's where your energy lands, where your money energy rests or runs. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just one shift can redirect the entire flow. So, what will you move today? The sofa? The mirror? The plant you've been ignoring? Comment below and tell me, what's the one thing in your living room you're ready to realign? I read every message, and your small shifts might inspire someone else's big transformation. And when you're ready, join me in the next video. We'll explore the hidden energy in your kitchen, where fire, water, and wealth collide. Until then, may your space soften, and may your chi return home.